What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Top Commander. I'm your host, Matt. So today I want to bring up a topic that you've probably had this. This is probably a conversation that you've had around your local game store, friends, family, play group, anybody that you play Commander with. In all honesty, this probably come up multiple times actually, and that is infinite combos and the Commander format as a whole. Now, are they toxic? Are they good for the format? Or are they just a necessary part of the format that you just gotta remember is there and kind of have to deal with? As I go through the bullet points of each side's argument, I'm probably going to be shutting some of them down, if not all of them, but I do have counterpoints to pretty much everything that people use as an argument. So the first age-old argument about infinite combos: it takes no skill. The biggest argument that they have is that it takes no skill. It takes no skill for them to get 2 or 3 cards out on the table and win the game. Here's where I differ that. Here's where I just don't believe that's true. One, you have to get through 100-card singleton deck. They only have 1 copy of cards. You gotta go through 100 cards, you gotta find the pieces. Once you found them, you got 3 opponents to worry about. You have to find a way to survive while you're finding them and trying to deploy them without getting counterspelled or stopped in whatever way. Because if your whole deck is, if your only win con is that combo, if they stop it, what do you have? I mean, there's a lot more skill involved in that, and then there's the point that they make about this is, oh, well, all they have to do is wait for everybody to be tapped out, and then they deploy an infinite combo and they win the game. So where's the skill in that? The skill is they were patient. Patience is a skill. I don't care what you say. Patience is a skill. When they wait for everybody to be tapped out, that they can deploy their infinite combo and win the game on the spot, they did pretty good. I'm just throwing that out there. Just think about that one. So, what's the next one that they usually go into? Well, the games end too soon. What do you mean the game ends too soon? Is he consistently going off between turn 4 and turn 6? Is he doing a turn 3 kill on everybody? Is he doing a turn 2 kill on everybody? Are there turn 2 kills in Commander? Absolutely. Can they be stopped? Absolutely. I don't believe there's any infinite combo that I've ever seen that does not have a way to be beat, which is the glorious thing about Commander. Really think about the World Gorger Dragon Animate Dead combo. In the mix of everything, if you Swords to Plowshares, which cost 1 white, and exile the dragon, they can't keep reanimating it. Or instant speed Rakdos Charm. One of the modes on it is exile the graveyard. World Gorger Dragon hits the graveyard, Rakdos Charm it in response to the combo in that scuffle. Now, you gotta remember timing is key, so you have to know when to be able to do that during the combo, which isn't hard. Just look up videos or read up on the rules about priority and timing and stuff like that, and you'll be able to figure that one out. I'm not going into that one too much on this episode because I'll be here for 2 hours. So, if the games are ending that soon, there's a couple of things to remember in that scenario. One, your deck's probably not equipped to deal with it, which is not a bad thing. You could upgrade the deck a little bit if you have the budget. And if you don't have a major budget, just remember you don't have to get Force of Will and Mana Drain to counteract, infinite combos. There could be the fact that Maybe you don't have the budget for it. Maybe you just want to play the game as it is. Well, in that case, then if they're consistently going off between turns 4 and turn 6, they probably need to consider the fact that they're more than likely playing a CEDH level deck. And maybe that's where that deck should be played. Or you could just turn the game into a arch enemy and just everybody go after him and make that more of a challenge for him. I mean, there's several different ways to figure that out. But here's the thing about games ending too soon. If your game night is lasting 4 hours and they go off on turn 4, turn 6, you've got room for, 5 games? Easy? That's more games to play, more chances for everybody to win. Unless the person you're talking about is playing a CEDH level deck and is consistently just winning left and right and nobody can do anything to stop them. Again, that's a scenario where you have to talk with your play group and figure out what the deal is. But just remember, be civil about it. You don't have to be salty about it. It's a game. Have fun. If there's a big issue with it, just talk it out. Civilly. A civil discussion that doesn't lead to arguments or people being mad at each other goes a long way. So when people say that the games end too soon, I view that as, hey, I get to play more games. I'm okay with this. You never know. Maybe you shuffle up one of those games. He's beating everybody turn 4, turn 6, and you shuffle up in a game and you find a god hand that allows you to win on turn 4 out of nowhere, or at least kill him on turn 3. I'm just saying, you don't know what's in your deck sometimes. When you shuffle up enough times, eventually you find this weird god hand that just does stupid stuff right from the go, right from the rip. So, games end too soon. One of the things that you can do is upgrade your deck. Well, that goes into another argument altogether. Oh, but it costs money to upgrade my deck. Again, you don't have to buy Force of Will. You don't have to buy Mana Drain. Are those good cards? Absolutely. Are they 100% necessary? No. There are alternatives all day long. As a matter of fact, one card that I enjoy, it's the Poor Man's Force of Will. It's called Foil. It's the same thing as Force of Will, only you're not losing life. Granted, you lose 2 cards, because you have to discard an island and a blue card, I believe. But it counterspells something for free. It's essentially a Force of Will. It's a slightly worse Force of Will, but still something that can help you either protect your win con or stop somebody from winning. Arcane Denial. It's a counterspell that lets you draw. Your opponent also gets to draw, which is the drawback on it, but sometimes it's worth it. If they only have one infinite combo and you use an Arcane Denial to stop that infinite combo, what's the rest of their deck? Tutors? I mean, come on. You gotta look at what is available to you, and if you've been playing with this person long enough, you probably know what's in their deck and what's available to them. When people say it costs money, if you can't afford, $3 to, an extra $10, I'll even go as far as a $20 bill, because you could probably use Disallow. Disallow is about $8, $10, somewhere in that range. Trick Bind is a split-second counterspell that costs $5. Arcane Denial costs pennies. There's a number of different ways that you can stop these things. Swords to Plowshares, it's about $4, $3 or $4, depending on which one you get. But you can shop around if you're just looking for just budget alternatives in general. One thing that I could say is check out MTG Quarters or Commander Quarters. Yeah, Commander Quarters. It's literally a YouTube channel designed for Commander on a budget. It's a great resource to use, and he uses a lot of his stuff through MTG Goldfish and um, EDH Rec, when you find a bunch of cards that nobody else uses, you bring it to the table and everybody's like, whoa, what is that? Instill Energy, I've never seen that enchantment. Which is still pretty decent enchantment. It doesn't go infinite or anything, but it's just really good if you put it in the right situation. So when people are talking about it costs money, if you can't afford an extra $20, I mean, that's the price of a spell book. That's the price of like 2 of the starter decks. The little intro Planeswalker decks are like $10. If you can't afford, $20, I really have nothing for you then. So we went through the game ends too soon, no skill, costs money. Oh, here we go. Let's say you do have the budget to upgrade your deck. This leads into another con, which this one I'm about 50-50 on. There's a fine line on this one. It causes a power struggle. To a certain degree, yes, it could. You have to do this in moderation a little bit. It can cause a power struggle, and it can lead to some feel-bads. But the situation in which this causes feel-bads and, leads to a really big power struggle is the fact that maybe somebody has a bigger budget. Somebody's out there buying the Force of Wills and the Mana Drains to stop the combo deck. Now they're winning all the time and stuff like that because they have quote-unquote better cards. Again, Commander's Quarters is a really good resource if you're trying to do things on budget. Now, I'm 50-50 on this argument. I understand what people are saying when they say it causes feel-bads, causes a power struggle, but at the same time, think about this. That's on the extreme end. Now, if you're going on the extreme end, yes, this argument is valid. But if you can do this talking with your playgroup, practicing with your playgroup, just kind of doing this in moderation, don't go completely all out crazy. The good thing that comes out of this is that you evolve your deck. You evolve your deck building abilities, you evolve your strategies, maybe you brew an entirely new deck. And that just makes games a little bit more interesting when there's something new at the table, because then you don't know what to expect, right? So there's a fine line on that argument. To a point, yes, I can agree with that argument. It does cause a power struggle, which leads to feel-bads. But in moderation, it leads to new decks, new strategies, better deck building, and just keeps the game more fun and interesting. So that one is kind of a double-edged sword, which, again, just talking it out with your playgroup can solve a lot of this. Now, the pros are pretty much everything that I used to counteract the cons. When they say games ends too soon, I say it leads to more games. When they say it causes a power struggle or feel-bads, I say that it evolves the playgroup meta, gives you new decks to play, or better deck building abilities or strategies. I mean, and it keeps things interesting. I mean, what else is there for infinite combos to be a good thing? Honestly, in my opinion, their big flashy plays there are just kind of cool to watch sometimes. As long as it doesn't take them 30 minutes to run through it. Yes, that was kind of a knock towards Storm, because a lot of Storm decks, they take 20, 30-minute turns. Nobody wants to watch that. Get a simple loop that you run it through one time, explain it to me. Cool, I see what's going on. Now how do you win? Okay, moving on. Shuffle up, new game. Leave it at that. So, in conclusion to all of these arguments, the pros and the cons of infinite combos. Are they good for the format? Or are they bad for the format? I personally view them as kind of good for the format. They're part of the game. They're not going away anytime soon. We share a ban list with CEDH players, and that's the most efficient way for them to win. And a lot of the times, CEDH players don't look to go into a game with a bunch of quote-unquote casual players just to try to pub stomp on them on turn 4. That's not what they're about, for the most part. There are some people like that, and shame on them. But when you think about it, the rules committee has already stated they're not wanting to put a whole bunch of cards on the ban list. They've stated that before. So we're not going to get a massive banning of infinite combo pieces out of nowhere. That's not going to happen. So people have to get that out of their head. Because if they did that, they're banning about 200 cards? There's no point in that. That's too much. And then you would shut down CEDH for pretty much good, because then they're not... I don't know how they would really do things without being able to do infinite combos, because a lot of CEDH wins are combo wins. I have no problem with that. If you ever watch Playing with Power, they're really fun to watch. It's all CEDH decks, and some of their games go to turn 10, turn 14 like casual games do. Because their decks are about the same power level, and they're designed to stop each other, play their decks, and stop each other again, and there's a lot of back and forth, and the games are just fun to watch, in all honesty. So, check them out if you got a chance. But, in the end, a lot of this boils down to talk with your playgroup and decide what you view as healthy for your playgroup. Don't let it get to a point where there's a bunch of arguments and feel bads and it ruins friendships. It's a game. Just have fun. If you're playing, especially when you're playing at home with your playgroup, you're not at a tournament. There's not prizes on the line. You're just having fun with friends. That's it. People gotta remember that. Don't get salty. Don't get mad. Just have fun with it. Laugh about it. You get done with a game after somebody combos out. That was a cool combo, man. That was kind of interesting to see that. I haven't seen that go off or anything. Don't be sarcastic about it. But it's a game. Just remember that. Have fun. Keep the game going. Bring in new players. Teach them how to play. Keep the game growing. And Magic will be around for another 20-something years. Magic's pushing 30 years as it is. I'm pretty sure the game's not going anywhere anytime soon. Commander is growing out of control. It is like the most popular format, to the point that 2020 is the year of Commander, with all the precons coming out, and we even have a Commander draft booster set or something like that. It's going to be nuts this year. There's going to be a lot of product. Pace yourself. If push come to shove, buy singles. Just get what you think is good, what you want to use. Don't worry about buying all the product out there, because it's going to be crazy this year. But with all that being said and done, if you like this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so that way you find out when I put up a new video. If you know any friends, family, playgroup, and somebody at your LGS that enjoys content like this, be sure to share the video with them. I do have a Patreon set up, patreon.com/topcommander, capital T, capital C. I'll have that right below here. Just, I have it set up in such a way that the patron tiers are set up for the viewers, to help the viewers get their opinions out and everything. And when you check out the page, you'll see what I mean. But till then, keep it fun, keep it casual. Just remember it's a game, and we'll see you next time.